Hello and welcome. It has been a little while, but it's time for another air fryer adventure, more specifically an AI air fryer adventure. And today, for something different, I'm going to have a whole roast chicken, and I'm going to make, according to the recipe that I've received from AI, spiced pumpkin and hummus crusted air fryer roast chicken. How's that for a mouthful? And hopefully it's going to be really delicious, because your guess is as good as mine, because I've only literally just asked AI for this recipe and haven't made it yet. So anyway, thank you for joining me. I will do some prep and show you what we need to do next. Right, the first thing is, of course, I need to tie my hair back because we don't really want hair in our food. So I need to have 250 grams of pumpkin. So this is grey pumpkin, and the first thing I need to do, according to the recipe, is I need to chop it up small and then microwave it. It's just done its thing. I've cooked the pumpkin now for about 4 minutes, and hopefully it will be soft enough but not too mushy. Hot. Here we go. Could you see my Ugg boots? It's chilly today. It was a beautiful sunny morning, but it's turned to custard. Anyway, I'm wearing my Ugg boots. So now I've got my pumpkin, and I need to add in a whole bunch of different things, including, let me see, start from the top, woman. Okay, 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika. So, 1 of those, 1 teaspoon of ground cumin, half a teaspoon of cinnamon. It's optional, but it's for warmth. And I'm thinking, oh look, that could be really quite nice. So, let's do that. And we need to have 1 teaspoon of dried oregano or thyme. I've got some oregano here, so I'll do 1 teaspoon of that. I think those are all the spices that we need to do. Of course, salt and pepper as well. Right, then we need to add our liquidy ingredients. And now we need to do the zest and juice of 1 lemon. The zester, that's what I need. I thought I was doing so well, but no. Anyway, we'll quickly just zest this lemon. And then I get to use my new fandangly juicer. Oh my gosh, it's so cool. I used to have one of those metal ones you may have seen on some other videos that I did when I was doing my mocktails earlier in the year. But let me just tell you that this has been a game changer. I really like it, and it's so quick and easy to use. Not sponsored even, but just an honest opinion. Anyway, so there's the zest. Now let me show you how simple and easy it is to use this thing. So cool. So just plonk it in there and just squeeze, and voila. And just amazing. Magic, really. So that's done. All right, now I need to have a couple of tablespoons of olive oil. There we go. And last but not least, it said about half a cup of hummus. So I personally am not going to, get out the cup to measure out half a cup of hummus. I'm going to eyeball it. All right, so I reckon 2 heaped, yeah, that's about right. It might be a little bit more, but that's okay. So now the recipe calls for all of this to be mixed into a smooth paste. So luckily the pumpkin is really cooked well enough. So this is a good thing. Anyway, let me do that because mixing is really going to be very boring for you to watch. And then we'll do the next part. All right, this next bit could get very messy, but here we go. I have mixed, look, it's not as totally smooth, but I reckon that's going to be quite nice. So it then calls for the chicken to be patted dry with a, paper towel. So, all right, we'll do that, but raw chicken. I always have a bit of a thing about raw chicken, but here we go. We will manage. And the idea is to put all this stuff all over it and rub it in like a coating. And then I'm supposed to put the chicken breast down in the basket and cook it. So here we go. Messy and interesting, but we'll give it a go. And I can sort of squish my pumpkin-y bit as well. Oh, goodness me. All right, we'll just have to muddle on through because I want to have at least one hand clean and dry and not full of chicken or pumpkin, so I can, press buttons and turn cameras off and things like that. So, oh, goodness me. All right, the things we do for YouTube. Okay, so this is the breasty side bit. So I'm going to now very carefully and hopefully not too messily transfer it to like that. And now I'll put this back on. There we go. It does look quite revolting, but hopefully it will taste all right. So now, very carefully, I've got to put this into my air fryer. Now, I didn't put it directly into the basket because, oh my goodness me, could you imagine how messy this could potentially be? But I will go like that and pop it in. And now, very carefully, don't mind me, put it in for 25 minutes, all right, to start off with at 180 degrees C, 25 minutes at 180 degrees C, all right? And then we flip it over. So I'm just going to do that. I will get back to you shortly. It's actually been about 20 minutes since I put the chicken into the air fryer, and I thought I would just check it. It's just as well I did. Look, there's some caramelization is a bit too kind. Charring is really closer to it. But anyway, we'll persevere, and now I will try very hard to turn the chicken over. This could be tricky. I might have to, yes, get some gloves or something to be able to rearrange things. Or maybe I'll just stab it with a fork and do something like that. Bear with. Where there's a will, there's a way. Let's give it a go. All right, come on, turn over. Right. Okay, well, to be perfectly honest, let me just get rid of these utensils. To be perfectly honest, all the hummus and pumpkin has kind of fallen off, let's put it that way, and it's slid to the bottom, but I'm still hoping that it's going to taste all right, kind of with its sauce, not necessarily the crust. So now I need to, according to these instructions, put it in. It says flip carefully. There was no careful, or even flip. There was a lot of effort. And cook for another 25 to 30 minutes until the chicken reaches 75 degrees C. Now, luckily, I happen to have one of these thermometers, so I will take it out in about half an hour and see how we go. Back soon, in about half an hour. Okay, it's done. And again, I'll show you. It does look deeply caramelized, but let me just take my handy dandy thermometer and poke it in to someplace, you know, the thickest part, and see how that's going. So let me readjust the camera. There we go. Hopefully none of you got vertigo. Let me plonk this in to the deepest part. I don't know whether you can see that. It says 67 and temperature climbing. It's got to get to 75. No, not quite. It's at 70. Oh, no, 71. Still thinking about it. I think just to be on the safe side, I might put it in for another couple of minutes. Okay, the button has beeped again. So we'll turn this off. Looks slightly more crispy, caramelized, whatever the word is. But now it's straight out of the oven, and I'll readjust, and hopefully you can see things a little better like that. All right, and I've got my thermometer, and I'm just going to put it into, you know, a deep part, and it's thinking about it. 66, come on. Boring, isn't it? waiting. No, I'm still not entirely sure about it all, but I'm not seeing any juices that aren't running, that still look kind of bloody. They do look kind of clear. So, and it has been some time. So I'm thinking, what to do? Decisions. I think I'm going to be brave. I think I'm going to go, yeah, let's just do it. All right, so hopefully you can see this. I may have to adjust the angle once more. There we go, so you can actually see me wrestle this chook. And hopefully, there we go. It looks pretty good, but again, there's a whole bunch of the sauce or something. Let's call it a sauce. It's supposed to be a crust, but I think realistically it's a sauce. I'm just going to pop that out, nearly wore it. Get rid of this. And now, carefully spoon it over our chicken. Which, look, it doesn't look too bad. I don't know whether I'd call it, well, I guess it's crusty. There's some bits that have become burntly crusty. But anyway, I'm just going to pour this over, or spoon it over, I should say, and let it rest for a few moments. And then I'm going to bravely try some. And I'll let you know what it tastes like. Okay, moment of truth time. Thank you very much for hanging around and waiting to see what I think of what it's going to taste like. So let me adjust and I'll show you. There it is. I haven't yet cut into it, but I have my large knife and fork, and I'm going to see if I can cut off a sliver or something. Oh, it's very moist, I'll give it that. Well, you know, it seems very succulent. Now I want to have some of the, you know, the dressing. Do we call it the dressing? I don't know. Anyway, I do want some of that. Okay, so that will do. And now with a normal size knife and fork, I'll actually taste it. All right. Not bad. Not bad. Quite a lot of effort and a lot of mucking around, but a nice flavour. You can definitely tell that the onion's been, not the onion, listen to me, the pumpkins had a little bit of a burn to it. But actually, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give this a 7.5. So, you know, AI did well. I did put in, like I have a whole chicken, I had some pumpkin, I had some hummus, come up with something, and it did. So, you know, not bad. I would probably serve it with a nice salad or something just to kind of lighten up the flavors, and maybe with some pita bread or something like that. But I didn't make dinner, I just cooked a chook. So there you go. Like I said, you know, 7.5, something like that. Would I do it again? Probably, possibly. I have to think about that. But it was an adventure, and that's the whole point of this channel. It's an AI adventure. So thank you very much for joining me. Please like, share, subscribe, all of that. I'll see you again soon. Bye.